Hello, everybody. My name is Taylor Stanley. Welcome to Parent University, Understanding Microsoft Teams. I am broadcasting live to you from my home. I hope that everyone is doing well. You all are doing an amazing job as families supporting your students' learning during this time. I know that it is stressful for you, stressful for your kids, but you all are taking it with such great stride, and it's been amazing, seeing tweets of you and your kids learning and embracing this challenging time. So I wanted to welcome you all to Parent University Understanding Microsoft Teams. For those of you whose first language is not English, we do have subtitles in French, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. And for those of you who speak Spanish and French, we have DCPS staff ready for you in the Q&A section to translate your questions and also translate answers for you. So please feel comfortable asking any questions that you might have in Spanish or French. In terms of Microsoft Teams, you all are using Microsoft Teams. Congratulations. So that right there is half the battle. So one of the specific pieces of Microsoft Teams live events is that you're able to have a Q&A section. So that's where you can pitch all of your questions, even if you or like your insights that you might have into Microsoft Teams during this conversation. This is a moderated Q&A, so we might not publish every question everyone has, but we do want to answer your questions to the best of our ability. One of the things that we ask is that when you do engage in the Q&A, that you assume best intentions, you go hard on ideas, not on people, and that you accept non-closure. And so again, for those of you who are speaking Spanish and French, we do have staff members online who will be able to answer your questions in Spanish and French. So to give you a little rundown of what Parent University is, Parent University is an opportunity for you as families to share what you know about raising kids. Building a sense of community is important as parents. For me, I learned that part of it is, trusting your gut, asking other people, and then Googling the rest. And that's Parent University is supposed to be an additional resource for you. So maybe you can spend a little bit less time on Google and more time engaging. Another part, like we said, sharing what you know, but part of that is that you learn from other families. So like I said, for those of you who have insights about Microsoft Teams, please feel free to post it in the Q&A. And then, of course, we want you to hear from DCPS. We want you to feel like we are literally in your living room right now, right? Answering questions, providing insights into how to support your child in learning how to use Microsoft Teams, or be able to understand what exactly your child is doing online on Microsoft Teams so that you can better support them. So part of Parent University is that it's built on what we call the 5 roles families play to accelerate student learning. For those of you all who are familiar with Flamboyant or aren't familiar with Flamboyant, Flamboyant is the organization that helps us with our home visits. So they built our home visit model, and so they also built out these 5 roles. So communicating high expectations. When you say, hey, you're at home, but you still have class at 10 o'clock, that's communicating high expectations. Monitoring your child's performance. When you're looking at that screen, making sure that they are logged into Microsoft Teams, you're monitoring their performance. Supporting learning at home. Just by being in this workshop, you're making sure that your children are prepared to learn and that they have work environments where they're able to do their homework. So you all are doing amazing. Guiding your child's education. This looks like This looks like asking questions about, like, what are my child's next steps in terms of learning? Don't forget that the My School DC lottery results have come out. So now is the time for some of you to ask those, to start thinking about, like, what are the next steps for my child? Advocating for your child. Whenever you reach out, especially now, to your child's teacher or school and asking questions about their learning, like, what should my child be learning? How do I get a packet? You are advocating for your child. And so you all are doing all of these things within your homes. And I know that you all have a history of doing these things when things have been normal. And so you all are doing an amazing job, and you should feel good about that. I want to make sure that you understand that, like, this is not easy for anyone, but you all are doing an amazing job considering the circumstances. And by all means, give yourself a high five, pat yourself on the back, because you are amazing. Without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to our amazing ed tech team. Sakon, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Perfect.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sakon Kieh. I'm the manager for educational technology here in DCPS. And what my team does is we support all schools, students, staff with technology integration. And I have a co-facilitator here with me today, Tiffany Thompson. She's our Microsoft Learning Consultant, and she partners with the district and also facilitating Microsoft Office 365 trainings for staff. So welcome, parents. Like Taylor stated, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you for investing in the time today to understand Microsoft Teams. I'm just going to give you an overview of Teams, and then Tiffany's actually going to walk you through an actual demo of what your student will see as they log into a virtual class. So just some norms for today: just be present and respectful, and we're all going to take a collaborative approach in getting an overview of this platform. So here's our agenda for the rest of the afternoon. You're going to get an overview of Microsoft Teams. You're going to learn about what it looks like, and Tiffany is going to do a live demo from the student's perspective. Microsoft Teams. What is Microsoft Teams? Let me go back. It's a hub, it's a collaborative hub. And as you can see, this picture right here is a snapshot of what it looks like on a device. And then over to the right is what it looks like on a phone. So it's a collaborative hub where students can interact online. It's also a workspace or a virtual classroom where they can communicate with their teachers, their fellow classmates, and share files and meet virtually. So there's 3 ways to access Teams. If you have a computer, you can access Teams by your students going into their Clever account and clicking on the Microsoft Office icon, or your child can type in portal.office.com, which will bring them into the Office 365 sign-in page, and then they would just put in their Office 365 username and password. So that's one way, using the browser, the computer browser. The other way you can access Teams is through your desktop. So Teams always gives you the option of downloading the application to your desktop or your laptop. So once you download Teams to your desktop or your laptop, you do not have to do anything extra. If you needed to access it for your student's class, all they have to do is click on the Teams icon that is on their desktop. You can also access Teams on your phone or your mobile device. You would simply go to your App Store on your cell phone, type in Microsoft Teams, and it will prompt you to download it. When you download Teams to your cell phone, you will be asked to put in your child's Office 365 username and password so that you will be able to access it, and so that they will be able to access it as well. So there's 3 ways to access Teams. So what sorts of things will your students be engaged in a Teams virtual class? Like I said previously, this is a space for them to communicate in discussions regarding assignments or maybe how they're doing or feeling during these times. This is also a hub for where their teacher can assign assignments to them, and they can complete assignments and send them right to their teacher. This is also where they can access content to either new material from their curriculum or a refresh of what they've learned. If you have a student whose teacher has already created content in Teams, you might see a pre-recorded video. Some teachers are doing live class meetings with their students. And then teachers also have the option to bring in like third-party applications such as a Wakelet or a YouTube videos that may be engaging for them to access during their learning. And also in Teams, the final thing is students can easily receive feedback from their teachers on how they're doing with assignments or projects as well. So now we're going to talk about what does the Teams class look like. So if you haven't already looked over your child's shoulder as they're in a Teams class, this is what a sample class looks like. You might see some wordings on the side. These are called channels, and channels help to keep the class organized. So for example, in this sample class, there are 4 channels, 5 channels total. One is on organism, structure, and behavior. There's another channel here that the teacher created where students can view recorded lessons. And you might see on your child Teams page a channel with a lock next to it. That means that is a private channel in which only your student or other students may have access to, and the rest of the class doesn't. So on the front of the class, you will notice this post section, and it resembles like a Facebook or a social media platform where students can respond to prompts or questions or quotes. You might also see when a teacher pushes out an assignment, that also comes out in the post section. If a teacher schedules a meeting with the class or a group of students, you will also see that here under posts. And again, Tiffany will walk you through this at a slower pace so that you can better understand. And now it's time for the student experience, and I'm gonna switch my screen over to Tiffany. And remember, your child can log in 2 ways. Either via Clever, and a lot of our elementary and middle schools use Clever, and they would log in via Clever, click on the Office 365 icon, and then put in their Office 365 username and password. Or they can log in via portal.office.com. And either way, once they put in their Office 365 username and password, this is the dashboard that it's going to bring them to access Team. Okay, sending it over to you, Tiffany.
Thank you, Sakon. Thank you so much. So I am going to walk you through a demo of Teams as a student. So when students have logged into their Office 365 account, they should arrive on their landing page, or what we tend to call our splash page. So this is where they will see all of the apps that they have access to, as well as any documents that they have possibly been using in Office 365. From here, they will click on the Teams icon, and Teams will open in a new tab. As you can see, I've already loaded Teams, and so I'm going to click that tab. I am in Mrs. Teacher's 3rd grade class, and so when I first go into her class, typically my default location where I enter the class is going to be what's called the general channel. Inside of every team, there is something called channels and tabs. So channels are basically a space where teachers can organize content based on a variety of things, but typically they do this by topic. So a team is a collection of people, content, and tools. A class team is a collection of students and teachers, content or material, and tools that the teachers can use to teach and the students can use to learn. So within this particular classroom, this third grade class, I can see that I have a general channel. The general channel is generally like usually like your announcements. So this is where the teacher may post all things that are related to the course, but that are not necessarily specific to a subject area. So as you can see, this teacher posted, "Welcome to Mrs. Teacher's class. Hi, welcome to class. I'm excited to see you again." As the student, I can use this reaction toolbar here to give it a thumbs up or to give it another reaction such as a heart. I can also click reply and reply to her as well and say, "Hi, I am excited too." And then I can send it to my teacher. Or as I said, optionally, I can just click thumbs up and give it a like. Now, there are some other channels here. So I have a flex group channel, a language arts channel, a math channel, a science channel, and a social studies channel. So my teacher has divided this class team into different subject areas to make it easier for me to navigate. So I'm going to click on language arts. I'm going to start with language arts. And in language arts, I can scroll through here and I can see the activities that my teacher has posted for me to do. Now, what's nice is that my teacher organized this class so that I know exactly what I'm supposed to do and when. So because she's using the same sort of format that she did, possibly did in class, I can see that here, if I scroll to the top, which I did, the first thing I need to do is watch this video. So it says, "Today we will learn about writing a friendly letter. Watch the video below to hear how Mr. Blueberry writes letters to his students." Now, as a student, I can click this video to play it and watch this particular video. But let's say I am a struggling reader and I did not really understand what these directions were. I could hover over this post and click these three dots here for more options. And you'll see that I have a feature called the Immersive Reader. If I click Immersive Reader, it will open this powerful Microsoft tool that will help me to engage with this content. So if I'm a struggling reader, I can have Immersive Reader read or speak this message for me. I also have some other options here as well. But let's say I just wanted to listen to my teacher's message. I could click the play button and it will play it for me. It also highlights each word as I play. And if I click on it, click on a particular word, it even gives me a picture. So this is a really useful tool that I can use inside of Microsoft Teams. I can also come here and click my text preferences so that if I wear glasses or if I have visual impairments, I can increase the text size to make it larger so that it's easier for me to read. I can also change the theme. So if I use a screen reader, I can change the theme to make it easier for me to read. The next option is called the grammar options. So if I wanted to practice reading this particular post for myself, I could turn on a feature called syllabication that will help me sound out the words into syllables. So I can see writing, a friendly, and then letter. So this helps me to sound out the words pretty easily. I can also turn on parts of speech. So if I don't really know what a noun is or a verb is, I can turn those on and it will highlight those words for me in this particular message. And then under reading preferences, this is a really good tool for students who struggle to read lots of content at once. So as a parent myself of a child who has attention deficit disorder, I have showed him this on multiple occasions, how to use this line focus. This actually will focus on one line of text at a time, and students can scroll through each line of text so that they can do better with comprehending what the teacher has posted for them to read or review. And then my last, but certainly not least favorite feature is the translate tool. So I could actually translate this into Spanish. So if I'm a Spanish speaking student, or if I speak Dutch, or if I am a Finnish speaking student, I can select that particular language. So I'm going to choose, let's choose Chinese simplified. And I'm going to select the entire document. And you'll notice that it will change my document. Let's turn off line focus. It translated my entire document or that message into my native language. At the very top, I can switch back to English or the original version if I needed to, but I could also go back and switch to the Chinese. And at any time, I could change those language options. So I could choose Arabic if I needed to. I could choose French, whatever language I speak, I can use this inside of Teams. And you're probably thinking, oh, you're outside of Teams. Actually, I'm not. If I click this back arrow to exit out of the immersive reader, I'm back in the Teams environment and I can continue to work through these activities or lessons. So if I get to the next activity and I need to use the immersive reader again, I can simply click those three dots and click immersive reader, and it'll bring the immersive reader tool or open the immersive reader tool for me. Here is
sorry, it's Taylor. I don't want to cut you off. That is absolutely a fabulous tool for families, for bilingual families. So thank you so much for showing us how to do that.
Oh, absolutely, my pleasure. So here is the next activity my teacher asked me to do. It says, click reply to answer the questions. Have you ever received a friendly letter? Have you ever written a letter to someone? How is a friendly letter, similar or different? So I can click this reply button and respond as the student. And here's the great thing about it. So if I am a struggling reader or a struggling writer, I can simply type this in, or I could use some other tools. So I could attach a Word file if I wanted to type it in Word first, or I can type it if I wanted to type it. So I'm just going to quickly respond. I have never received a letter in the mail, but I wrote a letter to my grandma. And then I'm clicking enter, and now I've sent that message to my teacher. You'll notice that I have a misspelling here. So as a student, I may want to go back and check that. Now for teachers, it's totally up to the teacher if they choose to really hone in on grammar and spelling. Because this is a unique situation, and students speak in their natural dialect or conversational tone, she may not be as strict. But if I was submitting a response and I wanted to edit, I can simply select those three dots and click edit. But you'll notice here that my teacher did not enable that option. So if I wanted to delete it and start over, I could delete it as well. So now I'm going to go to the file section at the top. So in every channel, you have something called tabs. So tabs are links or connections to tools or applications that I can use as a student in my class. So in this particular language arts channel, I have posts, I have files, and then I have notes. So these are some of the default tabs that the teacher has enabled or that Microsoft Teams comes with. So when I click files, I can see any files that my teacher has posted. So since we're working on writing a friendly letter, I can view this sample friendly letter that she's posted for me to review. So I can see that there as well and interact with that particular file. And then notes would link to my class notebook. So if I wanted to use OneNote as my digital notebook, I could go in here and jot down notes about writing a Fernie letter. So one of the assignments that my teacher did post, she asked me to write what I wanted to, who I wanted to write to, and some things that I wanted to write about. So I'm going to pretend that I'm this student, and I will write to my sister who is in college. I miss her a lot. Now, I'm typing this, but because this is pulling from Office Online, I also have the option to use this nice dictate tool. So if I click dictate, it will let me use my microphone to respond. Because I'm on a live call right now and I'm already using my microphone, it's not going to let me do it. But that's a nice feature that you can have your students or that your child can use as well. So if they're not really good with typing, they can click this microphone and they can have it, they can actually speak and OneNote will type it for them. It is an amazing tool that I've seen lots of success with students who are in lower grades or students who have who are ESOL students or non-English speaking students. They love that they can speak and have it typed for them. So that's an option for interacting with content inside of Microsoft Teams. Now I'm going to go to my math channel. And I can see it looks really similar to my language arts channel, and I can see where my teacher told me to watch a video, and there's some other activities that she told me to complete. It also says that she has a live class. So it says live class at 9:30 a.m. Click the link below for the live class. So it tells me or shows me the date here. So on Friday, tomorrow morning at 9:30, I can actually click this and join my teacher's class and see her and the rest of my classmates while she teaches us our particular topic or skill that she'll be covering. So that's really nice that I can meet with my teachers directly through Teams. You'll notice that I still have posts and I have files here. So if I click on files, I can see any math files that maybe my teacher uploaded. So she uploaded this multiplication strategies sheet, but then she also pulled in some other tools that I can use. So here it says math drill. So if I click that, she created a math activity for me to practice my multiplication and division. So I can solve this problem or solve these. I can write them in my, I can actually physically write them down, or I can put them in my OneNote notebook. But this is a nice way that I can interact. You'll notice that when I hover over any of these, she embedded this immersive reader and this audio tool, so I can actually have this read to me if I needed to have it read to me. If I click this next button that says Anchor Chart, so we've been learning about multiplication, so I can scroll through here and practice my multiplication facts or practice learning the different multiples for the numbers. So I can count 5, 10, 15, 20 to learn multiples of 5, multiples of 6. At the very bottom, I can see that this goes all the way to, let's see, multiples of 9. So I could practice this on my own in class because my teacher added that tool for me to use. And then if I click, I can see that there's a Khan Academy. So she put a link to Khan Academy for me to go to my Khan Academy and do my math work. In science, it looks identical. So I like the way my teacher did this. She posted a video for me to watch for science, and then there's an activity. Now this activity is, I've done this before, this looks really fun. So as a student, I want to always, or I'm always engaging in activities that will help me to continue to learn. So she created this activity called Buncey, and we were learning about the 3 types of rock. I can also see it looks pretty similar to this tab up here. So I'm going to click that. And it's the same thing. So we were learning about the 3 types of rock, and I can actually go through this and learn more about the 3 types of rock. And she gave me some directions here. So I need to read the page and then answer the questions on page 6. So I can go through and learn about sedimentary rock and igneous rock, metamorphic rock, and then there are the questions that I need to answer. So I can also post those responses if I wanted to, or if she told me to, in my notebook. So here in the notes section, or I could just write the answer down or be prepared to talk about them in class, because I believe that's what she said. She said, we will go over the questions tomorrow in class. Now, if I go back to my posts, there it is. So there's the link to join the class meeting at 1:45. So that's really nice that I'm able to interact with different types of tools inside of this class environment. And then in social studies, I can do the same thing. There's another activity. I'm going to click on this one. It says Nearpod. If I click there, it'll open. Looks like it is opening in the browser. It's asking me to enter my name. So I'm just going to say student, Tiffany, click join. Oh, it's a 13 colonies activity. I can practice matching pairs just like I would do in a face-to-face class. So there are some directions there for getting started. And then now I can practice making pairs. So I can click to match, and I got those wrong, or I can click to match those. Oh, I got those right. So I can continue to go through this activity until I've completed all of the activity requirements as instructed by my teacher. And when I'm done, I can simply click this X to close the tab and go back to my Teams environment. Now, because I really like that activity, I think I'm going to go over here and react to it. I'm going to give it a heart so that my teacher knows that I really like that activity. Now, you'll notice that in my list of channels, I have a channel called Flex Group. Now, I already know from the entire school year that I was in small group 1 for reading and math. So my teacher decided to continue this on, even though we are meeting via Teams because of online learning. So I can see that there's a lock here. So this lock means that I and the other people in my group, my other classmates, we're the only ones who can participate in this particular channel or area. So my teachers left me a message here. If you need help finding the practice sheet, let me know. So she tagged me, and that let me know that she posted an announcement that was specifically for me. Now, she could have posted it for everyone else or the other students as well, but I can see here activities that I need to work on. And you can also see that we did have class earlier and we were practicing our math facts. So there was that same button that you see in the other channels where it says live class. I can see that we did have that live class already, so that's why it says ended. So that class is over. But when she's ready to have a meeting again, she'll just let us know by maybe sending us a message or posting the link directly in this particular area or channel. Now I'm going to go to this left navigation here just so that we can get a little bit acquainted with the structure of Teams and some of the key tools or features. So this is my Teams environment or Teams list. Now, as a student, I'm currently only in one team. I'm in the 3rd grade class. But if I'm a high schooler or maybe I'm in middle school, I may have multiple teams that I'm a part of. So I may have my social studies class. If I have a different teacher for science, I may have a science class, and then I may have one for math and language arts. So depending on the grade level of the student, they may be in one or more classes. But when they click this Teams list, it'll show them the teams that they're a part of. Now, just for informational purposes and to help you prevent what could happen as far as your team's view, I'm going to show you something that many people do not realize when they are first opening Teams. So in my Teams list, I'm going to click this cogwheel here, and I'll have an option that says switch view. When I click switch view, I'm going to switch my view to this layout called grid. So I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to exit out. So when your student is joining or they're logging in Teams for the first time, the default setting is typically the grid view. And their screen may look like this with a little square or box. And it looks very similar to if you're on like an iPad or some kind of tablet. So you may see that their icons look like this, and that's perfectly okay. For different students and like different things, and the interface is going to work exactly the same. But just note that if you don't see it listed like mine, don't worry about it. You may need to switch the view. But if your child likes this view, particularly if they're on a touch screen and they just want to tap the class to open it up. So if I click third grade class, it's going to open it just like it did before. Okay. But if I go back here, I can always go back and switch my view. Now, while I'm in this these settings, I'm going to show you a few other features. So one of them is the notifications. So some students may not have email turned on. If email is not turned on, you want to make sure that the students are still receiving notifications, or they know that if a teacher sent them a message, or if there's going to be a class session. So I always advise parents to go to the notifications tab and change your notifications so that they are all saying banner. So banner means that it'll pop up on your screen just like a text message. So whenever anything new is happening, so if someone replies, or if the teacher replies, if the teacher sends a message to a personal message to me, or if she sends a message to everyone in the channel, if I want my notification sounds turned on, if I want to make sure that I have any missed activity, these are all good to have turned on for notification. Trending is not really important as students. This really just follows, any activity that is happening over and over again in the team. But because students will be logging in every day, they don't really need these features. These top ones that mentions and messages are the key notifications to have turned on. Okay. And one other thing I'll show you. So I showed you this layout where you have grid and list, but I wanted to show you this language option too. So if you are a non-English speaking parent or student and you want to use Teams in your native language, all you have to do is go to your settings and then you can change it. Right now, my default setting is English because that's my primary language, but I can choose any of these other languages as my primary language to interact with Teams. And it does not affect how the students use Teams at all. It's just that all of their text and everything by default will be in their native language. So that's a nice feature to have as well. All right, so I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to go back to my third grade class. And now I'm going to talk about the activity feed. So in my activity feed, this is where I can quickly see notifications that are relevant to me as the student. So when they're logging on their iPad or on their phone or on their computer, they can see if the teacher mentions them or tags them. So here it says I was mentioned, and you'll see that it's highlighted there. I can see that there was an assignment that was given to the entire third grade class. You'll see it illuminated in yellow. All right, so that's a nice way to see what's going on. If I click here, it shows me that my teacher made a post. It highlights it in yellow to show that I hadn't read it yet. And I can continue to go down, but this is a nice way for students to keep track of what's happening. That activity feed will illuminate with a red icon, just like this one, to let them know when something new has happened. So we looked at activity and we looked at teams. Now let's look at assignments. So you'll see that there's a little red dot over my assignments. That means that my teacher has posted some kind of assignment for me already. So I'm going to go to my third grade class and see what assignments. Oh, there we are. So I have 3 assignments for this third grade class. I have my 13 colonies assignment that's due tomorrow. I have my friendly letter due tomorrow, and then I have the rock cycle that's due next week. If I had already completed any activities or assignments, they would appear here. So I'm going to pretend to complete my friendly letter assignment. So if I click there, my directions or instructions say, write a friendly letter to a classmate describing a hobby or fun activity you like to do. So this resource, this link is telling me that this is where I should write my letter. So I'm going to click here for friendly letter. And it takes me to my OneNote page. Really nice. Okay. So now I can actually write my letter. So I can use the draw tab to handwrite it if I wanted to. So if you're on a touch screen as a student, I could actually handwrite it. So let's see if my pen will act right. So I'm going to write my date here. I have terrible handwriting. And I'm going to say, Dear Katie. And then I'm going to scroll down and start writing my friendly letter. How are you? I just lost 2 teeth. Can you believe it? All right. And then I can continue to write my letter. But if I'm done with this assignment, I'm going to scroll down, at least complete the closing and the signature. Sincerely, Tiffany. Okay. So now I'm done. Because I'm in Office 365, it auto saves. So OneNote auto saves. If I'm working in Word, it auto saves. If I'm working in PowerPoint, it auto saves. Students do not need to remember to click that little file save icon. How great is that? So I'm going to click close and I'm done. So if I'm done, I can now click turn in. So I'm going to click turn in and my teacher will get my assignment. She'll know that I'm done. And she'll be able to grade it for me. I can see that it's worth 50 points. Oh, and I got an iguana. Oh, no, what is that? What was that, a sloth? Wow, that's cool. So one of the nice features about Teams with the assignment tool is that when students submit their work, they get these cool emojis or animations that appear when they turn in their assignment. And it's random. So I did not know I was going to get a sloth. If I wanted to undo, turn in, and start over, I could do that as well. So I'm going to go back. All right, now I have a check mark here that lets me know that that assignment was graded. Now I'm going to go back to my Teams and go to the General tab and click Grades. So I can see my assignments here as well. Now, here's the thing. There's no difference between this Assignments tab here and the one over here. Well, there's a slight difference. When you're in a class, you can click the Assignments tab in that class and only see the assignments for that class. If you click Assignments on the navigation here on the left, you're getting the assignments for every class that you are enrolled in. So if I am in a science class, a math class, a PE class, or social studies, history, band, whatever, I'll see all of those assignments in this one place. But because I'm in my 3rd grade class, I can see I'm in here. When I click Assignments, it's going to show me the assignments for just that class. So I'm going to click Grades, and I can see I turned it in, but my teacher hasn't graded it yet. So when she grades it, it'll show me my grade here, and I'll be able to click and see any feedback that she's given to me. And I can also see that I have not turned in my Rock Cycle assignment and my 13 Colonies assignment yet. Okay. Now, we're going to look at 2 more features. So in my calendar, I can see, if I scroll here in my calendar, I can see the live class sessions that have been scheduled. So on these particular days or date and times when the class is actually going to start, a purplish blue button will appear here that says join, and I can click it to join. So if I'm ever confused or can't remember if I have class or not, this is the place to find it. Go to the calendar and you'll see any links for any class meetings that your teachers have assigned or scheduled for you. And then last but not least, it's probably my favorite feature is the help. So if you're struggling and can't figure out how to use Teams or is something specific and you're not getting an immediate response, when you're in Teams and your command bar at the top, if you type /help and click enter, it will bring you to this cool help page that gives you everything that you need to know about Teams. So there is a quick guide that you can download. There's some videos here that you can play and watch right in Teams. But let's say you have a question about submitting an assignment. you can type it in here and click enter, and then it'll bring it up. There it is. Turn in an assignment in Microsoft Teams. If I click it, it will take me to the directions for submitting an assignment, and I can read and see exactly how to submit an assignment if I forgot or if I didn't know how to do that. So please, if it's one thing you absolutely, positively don't want to forget today, remember that's /help, and it'll take you to your help section in Microsoft Teams. So I know that we have a limited amount of time together, and I hope that you guys feel a little bit more confident about using Teams with your children, with your students, and that you'll be able to get it up and running so that your child can continue their learning and engaging with their teacher.
Thank you so much. That's I'm actually like really excited about like the immersive reader and then being able to set the language of the platform to your home language. I think that that'll be really useful for parents. So thank you for that piece. One of the questions that I had from a technical perspective is it possible to still join a class without showing your picture, without showing your face?
Yes. So you mean a live class meeting?
Yes.
So when you join a meeting, you'll have a toolbar that appears at the bottom as a participant, so as a student, and you can click the button that says, or click the video icon to turn off your screen, or to turn off your camera. However, as a teacher, they could change the settings for that at a higher level. But if a student didn't want to show their face, then that's an option.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I had another question. Let's go to. So here's actually, this is a good question. Are you able to use the calendar for other, like let's say that we wanted to create a sense of normalcy in our home, right? And so we have this amazing calendar feature in Teams. Can students and families use that calendar to schedule, like, it's lunchtime, or we need to let's do a family walk? Can they use that calendar for that purpose as well?
So yes and no. So Teams, the calendar in Teams is actually meant for Teams meetings. That's one use. And then the other use is as an Outlook calendar, because it connects with Outlook. So students who don't have email turned on, they won't have access to Outlook as a calendar feature. So if they're accessing calendar through the Teams environment, it'll only let them create, or it'll only show Teams meetings and not necessarily Teams events. But there are so many other tools. I know we don't have a lot of time, but there is a wonderful, wonderful tool in Office 365 called Planner that is really easy to use, that parents can use and set it up so that they can create sort of a schedule to use with their students. I'm not sure if we have time to sort of show it, but yeah, I don't know if we have time to show it, but I did pull it up really quickly so that if you guys if we wanted to show it, we could show how easy it is to create a schedule.
Is it possible to put that in a one pager and put that in our materials for folks?
Absolutely.
Perfect. I think so the great part about Teams is that you can use it with any device that you have, right?
Right.
So laptops, Chromebooks, even cell phones.
Yes.
Okay. And so that's really helpful, I think, because I know that there are homes with multiple children, and they all have to be on the computer. But if you have, a phone, you're able to access it.
Exactly. So if you're on a phone, an Android phone, iPhone, I would suggest downloading the app, because there is an app for those phones. If you're using something like a Chromebook, you can use the web browser. So you go to chrome.com. Chrome.com. You can go open up Chrome and then go to Clever or portal.office.com and sign in, and then click Teams and it'll work in the browser as well, so that you can really join. It's really device agnostic. It may not look identical in each environment, but 99% of the features are available in all platforms.
Okay, and I do want to be mindful of folks' time. This is a good question. Families, how can they go in and view their children's assignments, like through Microsoft Teams? Does it have to be through their child's account?
So,
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. So, and honestly, parents, for those of you, that's a great time to talk through with your children about the different assignments that they've received. It's a great time to check for understanding. If if you have questions about any of the assignments, definitely reach out to your child's teacher about any questions. But getting them in the habit, logging on with them in the beginning of the day, asking questions about, like, what's the class that you have the most questions about or you have the most concerns about. That's part of setting them up and getting them set up through Teams. And that's something that you could do with them. Let's see. We do have a few people who have used the Teams app on their phone, and they do like it. I think for now, those are the questions that we have. I want to thank Sakon and Tiffany. I also want to give a shout out to our moderators, Sophie, Claudette, Liz, and Ashley and Natalie. Like, you all have been answering these questions like back to back to back, and I hope that you all out there, families, feel like you've had your questions answered. So this next workshop, on Tuesday, April 14th at 3 p.m. It's great for high school students. And it's also, I would actually recommend it for middle and high school families too. Middle school families, you get a sense of what your child has to look forward to in high school, with the Guide to Graduation, Career, and College. It's an amazing resource. We'll also be hosting that in Spanish on Wednesday. But if you want to give a glimpse of what DCPS is offering families in high school about prepping your child for life after DCPS, this is the workshop for you. It's really exciting. Like, the guide is absolutely amazing. I wish I had one for my life when I was in high school. So please join us then. Also, resources will be available at bit.ly/ParentUTeams. This will have one-pagers. It will have the slideshow. It won't have Tiffany's part, but it will have all the stuff leading up to it. And then also, we're trying to make sure that we are supporting you in ways that you need to be supported, or that you'd like to be supported. I want to make sure that the content that we're sharing with you all serves you in a way that needs to be served. So please take a few minutes for our quick survey at bit.ly/ParentUEval19. I do want to flag that bit.ly links are are case sensitive, so everything will be lowercase. With that said, thank you all so much for joining us. Like I said, you all are doing amazing. You all are doing amazing work, making sure that your kids are ready to go every day, every morning, and then doing your work as well, dealing with whatever additional stresses that you may have. And it's not easy. And you have handled it with such grace. You've handled it with such resilience, and your kids see that, and you're modeling this behavior in a way that they know that they're able, that they feel supported at home to continue learning, to continue to keep their heads up. And it's okay if things get rough and you start to doubt yourself. That is normal in these unusual circumstances, but you are doing phenomenally. So kudos to you. And please, by all means, we would love to have you all join us in the future for future parent university sessions. Again, thank you, Tiffany and Sakon. You guys did amazing. I'm a believer in Microsoft Teams now. So you all just have this is amazing. So if you all so for families, if you need we need to walk through this again, or we went too quickly through some of these pieces, the PowerPoint, the entire presentation will be online on our YouTube channel tomorrow. So please, by all means, we'll keep storing our past workshops on the YouTube channel if ever there are technical difficulties or you're not able to make it for that particular session. But again, you all have a great day. Give your kids a hug, tell them how great they are, and tell yourselves how great you are. So have a wonderful day.